Section 8 of Poems of American History, the Colonial Era. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recorded by Malcolm Bernstein. Poems of American History, the Colonial Era. Chapter 2, In the Wake of Columbus, Part 3. The Spaniards still dreamed of a great empire somewhere in Florida, and in 1528 Panfilo de Narvaez set out with an expedition in search of it. Only 4 members of the party got back to Cuba alive, the others having been killed or captured by the Indians. Among those captured and enslaved was Juan Ortiz. He was rescued by De Soto nearly 10 years later. Ortiz, 1528. "Go, bring the captive, he shall die," he said with faltering breath. "Him stretch upon a scaffold high, and light the fire of death." The young Creeks danced the captive round, and sang the song of doom. "Fly, fly, ye hawks, in the open sky, fly, wings of the warrior's plume." They brought the faggots for the flame, the braves and maids together, when came the princess, sweet her name, the red flamingo feather. Then danced the Creeks the scaffold round, and sang the song of doom. "Fly, fly, ye hawks, in the open sky, fly, wings of the warrior's plume." In shaded plumes of silver gray the young Creeks danced together, but she danced not with them that day, the red flamingo feather. Wild sped the feet the scaffold round, wild rose the song of doom. "Fly, fly, ye hawks, in the open sky, fly, wings of the warrior's plume." They stretched the stranger from the sea, above the faggots lighted. Ortiz, a courtly man was he, with deeds heroic knighted, and sped the feet the scaffold round, and rose the song of doom. "Fly, fly, ye hawks, in the open sky, fly, wings of the warrior's plume." The white smoke rose, the braves were gay, the war drums beat together, but sad in heart and face that day was red flamingo feather. They streaked with flames the dusky air, they streaked the song of doom. "Fly, fly, ye hawks, in the open sky, fly, wings of the warrior's plume." Dance, dance, my girl, the torches gleam, dance, dance, the gray plumes gather. Dance, dance, my girl, the war hawks scream, dance, red flamingo feather. More swiftly now the torches sped amid the dance of doom. "Fly, fly, ye hawks, in the open sky, fly, wings of the warrior's plume." She knelt upon the green moss there, and clasped her father's knees. "My heart is weak, O father, spare the wanderer from the seas." Like madness now swept on the dance, and rose the song of doom. "Fly, fly, ye hawks, in the open sky, ye wings of the warrior's plume." Grand were the men who sailed away, and he is young and brave. 'Tis small in heart the weak to slay, 'tis great in heart to save. He saw the torches sweep the air, he heard the song of doom. "Fly, fly, ye hawks, in the open sky, fly, wings of the warrior's plume." My girl, I know thy heart would spare the wanderer from the sea. "The man is fair, and I am fair, and thou art great," said she. The dance of fire went on, and on the song of doom. "Fly, fly, ye hawks, in the open sky, fly, wings of the warrior's plume." The dark chief felt his pride abate. "I will the wanderer spare, my bird of peace, since I am great, and he like thee is fair." They dropped the torches, stopped the dance, and died the song of doom. Fly, fly, ye hawks, in the open sky, away with the warrior's plume. This by Hezekiah Butterworth. In 1538, Hernando de Soto was appointed governor of Cuba and Florida, with orders to explore and settle the latter country. He landed at Tampa Bay with nearly 1,000 men and started into the interior. He was forced to fight his way across the country against the tribes of the Creek Confederacy, and in October 1540 had a desperate battle with them at a palisaded village called Maubila at the mouth of the Alabama River. The Fall of Maubila, October 18, 1540. Hearken the stirring story the soldier has to tell, of fierce and bloody battle, contested long and well, ere walled Maubila stoutly held before our forces fell. Now many years have circled since that October day, when proudly to Maubila De Soto took his way, with men at arms and cavaliers in terrible array. Oh, never sight more goodly in any land was seen, and never better soldiers than those he led have been, more prompt to handle arquebus or wield their sabres keen. The sun was at meridian, his hottest rays fell down alike on soldier's corselet and on the friar's gown. The breeze was hushed as on we rode, right proudly to the town. First came bold De Soto in all his manly pride, the gallant Don Diego, his nephew, by his side. A yard behind, Juan Ortiz rode, interpreter and guide. Baltasar de Gallegos, impetuous, fierce, and hot, Francisco de Figaro, since by an arrow shot, and slender Juan de Guzman, who in battle faltered not. Luis Bravo de Xeres, that gallant cavalier, Alonso de Carmona, whose spirit knew no fear, the Marquis of Astorga, and Vasquez the cannoneer. André de Vasconcellos, Juan Calles young and fair, Roma de Cardonoso, him of the yellow hair, rode gallantly in their bravery straight to the public square. And there in sombre garments were monks of Cuba 4, Fray Juan de Gallegos, and other priests a score, whose sacramental bread and wine and holy relics bore. And next 800 soldiers in closest order come, some with Biscayan lances, with arquebuses some, timing their tread to martial notes of trump and fife and drum. Loud sang the gay Mobilians, light danced their daughters brown, sweet sounded pleasant music through all the swarming town. But mid the joy one sullen brow was lowering with a frown. The haughty Tuscaloosa, the sovereign of the land, with moody face and thoughtful, rode at our chief's right hand, and cast from time to time a glance of hatred at the band. And when that gay procession made halt to take a rest, and eagerly the people to see the strangers pressed, the frowning king in wrathful tones De Soto thus addressed: "To bonds and to dishonor, by faithless friends trepanned, for days beside you, Spaniard, the ruler of the land has ridden as a prisoner, subject to your command. He was not born the fetters of baser men to wear, and tells you this De Soto, hard though it be to bear. Let those beware the panther's rage who follow to his lair. Back to your Isle of Cuba, slink to your den again, and tell your robber sovereign, the mighty Lord of Spain, whoso would strive this land to win shall find his efforts vain. And save it be your purpose within my realm to die, let not your forces linger our deadly anger nigh, lest food for vultures and for wolves your mangled forms should lie." Then spurning courtly offers, he left our chieftain's side, and crossing the enclosure with quick and lengthened stride, he passed within his palace gates, and there our wrath defied. Now came up Charamilla, who led our troop of spies, and said unto our captain, with tones that showed surprise, "A mighty force within the town in wait to crush us lies. The babes and elder women were sent at break of day into the forest yonder, 5 leagues or more away. Within yon huts 10,000 men wait eager for the fray." "What say ye now, my comrades?" De Soto asked his men. "Shall we before these traitors go backward baffled then, or sword in hand attack the foe who crouches in his den?" Before their loud responses had died upon the ear, a savage stood before them, who said in accents clear, "Ho, robbers base and coward thieves, assassins, Spaniards here! No longer shall our sovereign, born noble, great, and free, be led beside your master, a shameful sight to see, while weapons here to strike you down, or hands to grasp them be." As spoke the brawny savage, full wroth our comrades grew. Baltasar de Gallegos his heavy weapon drew, and dealt the boaster such a stroke as clove his body through. Then rushed the swart Mobilians like hornets from their nest. Against our bristling lances was bared each savage breast. With arrowhead and club and stone upon our band they pressed. "Retreat in steady order, but slay them as ye go," exclaimed the brave De Soto, and with each word a blow that sent a savage soul to doom he dealt upon the foe. "Strike well, who would our honor from spot or tarnish save. Strike down the haughty pagan, the infidel and slave. Saint Mary Mother sits above and smiles upon the brave. Strike, all my gallant comrades, strike, gentlemen of Spain, upon the traitor wretches your deadly anger rain, or never to your native land return in pride again." Then hosts of angry foemen we fiercely held at bay. Through living walls of pagans we cut our bloody way, and though by thousands round they swarmed, we kept our firm array. At length they feared to follow, we stood upon the plain, and dressed our shattered column, when, slacking bridle rein, De Soto, wounded as he was, led to the charge again. For now our gallant horsemen their steeds again had found, that had been fastly tethered unto the trees around, though some of these, by arrows slain, lay stretched upon the ground. And as the riders mounted, the foe in joyous tones gave vent to shouts of triumph and hurled a shower of stones. But soon the shouts were changed to wails, the cries of joy to moans. Down on the scared Mobilians the furious rush was led. Down fell the howling victims beneath the horses' tread. The angered chargers trod alike on dying and on dead. Back to the wooden ramparts we cut and thrust and blow. We drove the panting savage the very walls below, till those above upon our heads huge rocks began to throw. Whenever we retreated, the swarming foemen came. Their wild and matchless courage put even ours to shame, rushing upon our lances' points and arquebuses' flame. 3 weary hours we fought them, and often each gave way. 3 weary hours, uncertain the fortune of the day, and ever where they fiercest fought, De Soto led the fray. Baltasar de Gallegos right well displayed his might. His sword fell ever fatal, death rode its flash of light, and where his horse's head was turned, the foe gave way in fright. At length before our daring the pagans had to yield, and in their stout enclosure they sought to find a shield, and left us, wearied with our toil, the masters of the field. Now worn and spent and weary, our force was scattered round, some seeking for their comrades, some seated on the ground, when sudden fell upon our ears a single trumpet's sound. Up, ready make for storming! That speaks Moscoso near. He comes with stainless sabre, he comes with spotless spear, but stains of blood and spots of gore await his weapons here. Soon formed in 4 divisions, around the order goes, to front with battle axes, no moment for repose. At signal of an arquebus, rain on the gates your blows. Not long that fearful crashing, the gates in splinters fall, and some, though sorely wounded, climb o'er the crowded wall. No rampart's height can keep them back, no danger can appall. Then redly reigned the carnage, none asked for quarter there. Men fought with all the fury born of a wild despair, and shrieks and groans and yells of hate were mingled in the air. 4 times they backward beat us, 4 times our force returned. We quenched in bloody torrents the fire that in us burned. We slew who fought, and those who knelt with stroke of sword we spurned. And what are these new forces with long black streaming hair? They are the singing maidens who met us in the square, and now they spring upon our ranks like she-wolves from their lair. Their sex no shield to save them, their youth no weapon stayed. De Soto with his falchion a lane amid them made, and in the skulls of blooming girls sank battle axe and blade. Forth came a winged arrow and struck our leader's thigh. The man who sent it shouted and looked to see him die. The wound but made the tide of rage run twice as fierce and high. Then came our stout camp master. The night is coming down. Already twilight darkness is casting shadows brown. We would not lack for light on strife if once we burned the town. With that we fired the houses, the ranks before us broke. The fugitives we followed, and dealt them many a stroke, while round us rose the crackling flame, and o'er us hung the smoke. And what with flames around them, and what with smoke o'erhead, and what with cuts of sabre, and what with horses' tread, and what with lance and arquebus, the town was filled with dead. 6,000 of the foemen upon that day were slain, including those who fought us outside upon the plain. 6,000 of the foemen fell, and 82 of Spain. Not one of us unwounded came from that fearful fray. And when the fight was over, and scattered round we lay, some 1,600 wounds we bore as tokens of the day. And through that weary darkness and all that dreary night, we lay in bitter anguish, but never mourned our plight, although we watched with eagerness to see the morning light. And when the early dawning had marked the sky with red, we saw the Moloch incense rise slowly overhead from smoking ruins and the heaps of charred and mangled dead. I knew the slain were pagans, while we in Christ were free, and yet it seemed that moment a spirit said to me, henceforth be doomed, while life remains, this sight of fear to see. And ever since that dawning, which chased the night away, I waked to see the corses that thus before me lay. And this is why, in cloistered cell, I wait my latter day. This by Thomas Dunn English. Early in 1540, a great expedition under Francisco de Coronado started northward from Mexico in search of the 7 cities of Cibola, of whose glories and riches many stories had been told. The cities were really the pueblos of the Zunis, and the ballad tells the story of the march. Quivira, 1540 to 1541. Francisco Coronado rode forth with all his train, 800 savage bowmen, 300 spears of Spain, to seek the rumored glory that pathless deserts hold, the city of Quivira, whose walls are rich with gold. Oh, gay they rode, with plume on crest and gilded spur at heel, with gonfalon of Aragon and banner of Castile, while high emprise and joyous youth, twin marshals of the throng, awoke Sonora's mountain peaks with trumpet note and song. Beside that brilliant army, beloved of serf and lord, There walked as brave a soldier as ever smote with sword, though naught of knightly harness his russet gown revealed. The cross he bore as weapon, the missal was his shield. But rugged oaths were changed to prayers, and angry hearts grew tame, and fainting spirits waxed in faith where Fray Padilla came. And brawny spearmen bowed their heads to kiss the helpful hand of him who spake the simple truth that brave men understand. What pen may paint their daring, those doughty cavaliers? The cities of the Zuni were humbled by their spears. Wild Arizona's barrens grew pallid in the glow of blades that won Granada and conquered Mexico. They fared by lofty Acoma, their rally call was blown, where Colorado rushes down through God-hewn walls of stone. Still north and east, where deserts spread and treeless prairies rolled, a fairy city lured them on with pinnacles of gold. Through all their weary marches toward that fitting goal, they turned to Fray Padilla for aid of heart and soul. He bound the wounds that lance thrust and flinty arrow made. He cheered the sick and failing, above the dead he prayed. 2,000 miles of war and woe behind their banners lay, and sadly fever, drought, and toil had lessened their array, when came a message fraught with hope to all the steadfast band. Good tidings from the northward, friends, Quivira lies at hand. How joyously they spurred them, how sadly drew the rein. There shone no golden palace, there blazed no jeweled fane. Rude tents of hide of bison, dog-guarded, met their view. A squalid Indian village, the lodges of the Sioux. Then Coronado bowed his head, he spoke unto his men. Our quest is vain, true hearts of Spain, now ride we home again. And would to God that I might give that phantom city's pride in ransom for the gallant souls that here have sunk and died. Back to Compostela the wayworn handful bore, but sturdy Fray Padilla took up the quest once more. His soul still longed for conquest, though not by lance and sword. He burned to show the heathen the pathway to the Lord. Again he trudged the flinty hills and dazzling desert sands, and few were they that walked with him, and weaponless their hands. But and the trusty man-at-arms, Docampo rode him near, like Great Heart guarding Christian's way through wastes of doubt and fear. Where still in silken harvests the prairie lilies toss, among the dark Quiviras Padilla raised his cross. Within its sacred shadow the warriors of the Kaw in wonder heard the gospel of love and peace and law. They gloried in their brown-robed priest, and oft in twilight's gold the warriors grouped a silent ring to hear the tale he told, while round the gentle man-at-arms their lithe-limbed children played, and shot their arrows at his shield and rode his guarded blade. When thrice the silver crescent had filled its curving shell, the friar rose at dawning and spake his flock farewell. And if your brothers northward be cruel, as ye say, my master bids me seek them, and dare I answer nay? Again he strode the path of thorns, but ere the evening star, a savage cohort swept the plain in paint and plumes of war. Then Fray Padilla spake to them, whose hearts were most his own, My children, bear the tidings home, let me die here alone. He knelt upon the prairie, begirt by yelling Sioux. Forgive them, O my father, they know not what they do. The twanging bowstrings answered, before his eyes unrolled the city of Quivira, whose streets are paved with gold. Arthur Guiterman. The Spaniards were not the only people who searched in vain for fabulous cities. South of Cape Breton lay a country which the early French explorers named Norumbega, and there was supposed to exist somewhere within its boundaries a magnificent city of the same name. Roberval and Jacques Cartier spent a number of years after 1541 seeking it, and in 1604 Champlain explored the Penobscot River, on whose banks it was supposed to be situated, but found no trace of it, nor any evidence of civilization except a cross, very old and mossy, in the woods. Norumbega, circa 1543. The winding way the serpent takes the mystic water took, from where to count its beaded lakes the forest sped its brook. A narrow space twixt shore and shore, for sun or stars to fall, while evermore behind before closed in the forest wall. The dim wood hiding underneath, wan flowers without a name, life tangled with decay and death, league after league the same. Unbroken over swamp and hill the rounding shadow lay, save where the river cut at will a pathway to the day. Beside that track of air and light, weak as a child unweaned, at shut of day a Christian knight upon his henchman leaned. The embers of the sunset's fires along the clouds burned down. "I see," he said, "the domes and spires of Norumbega town." "Alack, the domes, O master mine, are golden clouds on high, your spire is but the branchless pine that cuts the evening sky." "Oh, hush and hark! What sounds are these but chants and holy hymns? Thou hear'st the breeze that stirs the trees through all their leafy limbs. Is it a chapel bell that fills the air with its low tone? Thou hear'st the tinkle of the rills, the insect's vesper drone. The Christ be praised, he sets for me a blessed cross in sight. Now, nay, 'tis but yon blasted tree with two gaunt arms outright. Be it wind so sad or tree so stark, it mattereth not, my knave. Methinks to funeral hymns I hark, the cross is for my grave. My life is sped, I shall not see my home-set sails again. The sweetest eyes of Normandy shall watch for me in vain. Yet onward still to ear and eye the baffling marvel calls. I fain would look before I die on Norumbega's walls. So haply it shall be thy part at Christian feet to lay the mystery of the desert's heart my dead hand plucked away. Leave me an hour of rest, go thou and look from yonder heights. Perchance the valley even now is starred with city lights. The henchman climbed the nearest hill, he saw nor tower nor town, but through the drear woods lone and still the river rolling down. He heard the stealthy feet of things whose shapes he could not see, a flutter as of evil wings, the fall of a dead tree. The pine stood black against the moon, a sword of fire beyond. He heard the wolf howl and the loon laugh from his reedy pond. He turned him back. "O master dear, we are but men misled, and thou hast sought a city here to find a grave instead. As God shall will, what matters where a true man's cross may stand, so heaven be o'er it here as there in pleasant Norman land. These woods perchance no secret hide of lordly tower and hall, yon river in its wanderings wide has washed no city wall. Yet mirrored in the sullen stream the holy stars are given. Is Norumbega then a dream whose waking is in heaven? No builded wonder of these lands my weary eyes shall see. A city never made with hands alone awaiteth me. Orb Sion Mystica I see, its mansions passing fair. Condita coelo, let me be, dear Lord, a dweller there. Above the dying exile hung the vision of the bard, as faltered on his failing tongue the song of good Bernard. The henchman dug at dawn a grave beneath the hemlocks brown, and to the desert's keeping gave the lord of fief and town. Years after, when the Sieur Champlain sailed up the unknown stream, and Norumbega proved again a shadow and a dream, he found the Norman's nameless grave within the hemlock's shade, and stretching wide its arms to save the sign that God had made, the cross-boughed tree that marked the spot and made it holy ground. He needs the earthly city not, who hath the heavenly found. John Greenleaf Whittier. End of Section 8.